Hi, welcome to this tutorial on setting up image planes in Maya. So this is following on in the traffic cone tutorials. So we've created the image planes and now we're going to put these into Maya. The first thing we do before we do anything, as always with when we're using this software, is set up a project. So we're going to go down to our project window. I'm going to create a new project. I'm going to call this traffic cone. Make sure I spell it correctly. Traffic cone, and I'm just going to drop this onto my desktop. So you can put it wherever you want. I'm putting it on the desktop because eventually I will be putting it on an external hard drive, so I can take that around with me and use it wherever I wish. We'll keep all of the assets. In previous versions you could actually come in and delete some of these and it would actually only create specific folders. I'll just click accept, and then we go to set project and go to desktop, traffic cone, go into the root so we can see all the folders and click on set. Okay, let's just shut this down for the moment, go to our desktop, move this out to one side. We have this traffic cone here, and the first thing we're going to do is we're going to actually take our orthographic images. So we have our two orthographic images here, and we're going to drop these in the source images folder. We can drop the traffic cone orthographics into the images folder if we like, and I'll put that there for now. So I'm going to make sure you've got this available to you so you can go through it. Okay, and I'm also going to drop the original traffic cone and the hexagon that we found, so you should find all this within the project folder included with this tutorial. Okay, so going back into Maya LT, now there's a couple of different ways of setting up image planes. I have a preferred method, but you may prefer to use a different method, so I'm going to show you both methods of doing the setting up the image planes. So for the first one, I'm going to go into my quad view by pressing spacebar, and I'm going to jump into my top down view, go to view and go to the image plane section. I'm going to go to import image. Okay, and you can see it's automatically gone to my source images folder, and we have our traffic cone orthographics. Now I've got side and top, so click on top and you should see the orthographic image appear there. Now there is an issue, which we've got a ratio issue going on here, where it's actually squished the image. Okay, get rid of that. So you may need to actually change the ratio again for this, or go back into Photoshop and have a look at how those ratios are working. And it's probably because we had square pixels turned off. So I'll just open Photoshop and we'll actually bring in our individual images and see what's going on there. So go to the traffic cone, let's just navigate to that top, and we say pixel, it's for preview purposes, it's actually changed. So what we need to do is, it looks fine there, we probably need to actually turn pixel aspect ratio to square, and that should be okay. Let's go to save. Let's just save it as something else. This is an area to be really kind of wary of when you're creating these things. So you can see our circle isn't actually a circle at the moment. So let's just have a look at this and go to image plane, import image, and just go to this top one, two, and we're still getting the same issue. This could be because I've actually done it to set it up for my own purposes. We can actually come in and change the height of this. So if we click on our image plane, you can see we get our image plane options where we can translate and move. Let's just go to the attribute editor for this. And let's just have a look to changing these. So we'll look at our height and width here, and if we hold down control we can try and change this, but it's not actually changing the image. It's just actually changing the plane. So obviously this is due to it not being set up 100% correctly for what I want to do. Let's just have a look. Yeah, we're getting some issues when we try and stretch this out. But obviously, depending on how you create your image planes, you can set it up exactly how you want. Let's just say this is correct for argument's sake. You can see this in our perspective view as well. We can change that so it's only visible in a single view. What we also need to do is we need to go into the side view, or the front view, as it should be. And we need to do the same with this. So, image plane, import image, and we're going to go for the side. This aspect ratio on this actually looks a lot better on this one. So this is where we can start modelling. Now we can move this original centre, we can actually move it higher or lower in the front view, or we can just model it so this is the central point and then snap it back up to the pivot. It's just entirely up to yourself. So that's just one way of doing it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go in now, create a new scene. We won't save this. Create a new scene, and we're going to go to set project again. Set the project here. And we're going to now show you a different method, which is my preferred method for setting up image plans. For that we need to have the channel box open. And we're going to create a just single plane, which is just 1 centimeter by 1 centimeter in width and height, and with a subdivisional of 10 and 10, which we're going to knock down to just 1, because we don't really need any sort of higher resolution geometry for this. Okay, the next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to change the width and the height. So I'm going to change that one to 60, that one to 60. And this is because we know that our image is 60 by 60. Then I'm going to right click and assign new material. I'm just going to assign a Lambert to this. I think we're actually in Shader FX shaders for this one. So I would have just created a standard Lambert. Let's just go back actually to this one, and we're going to go open our material editor, which I'm still getting used to my LT myself, so looks like we don't have our Lambert shaders in here because this is designed specifically for games rather than for the visual effects, so it's not relying on us to have a full shader set. It's given us our full shader effects sets, which are all shaders for specifically designed for game creation. So if we open our shader effects in this, we can see we have a node, kind of node based. So what I want to do to this is I want to add a file, which is not giving us that option either. Okay, going back to this, we're not going to use the shader effects one for this, we're just going to use a standard font. So we're going to assign a font to this. Okay, so that's the font. Notice we do have some sort of highlights on here, so we need to go into our font attributes. I'm going to just change specular color to completely off, so there's no specularity on here. Now we click on the file, and we're going to go add a file to this. And now we can navigate to our top, and you can see we're still having issues with this aspect ratio here, which I will cover a little bit later on. Let's just turn the grid off for now as well so I can see a bit easier. Okay, so you can see that is actually working fine apart from the aspect ratio, which we can look at by going into our UV editor. And this is a pretty easy fix in the UV editor. If we click on UVs and actually just scale this in. Now it's not going to give you 100% accurate representation. You would need to make sure that the actual output from your Photoshop file is correct. Okay, once we've done that, we just need to name this layer. So instead of calling it polyplane, we need to go image plane top, and that if we open our outline now, we should see image plane top. Okay, then we need to add this to its own layer. So in the displays and layers, we don't have render layers, we just have layers. We're going to add this so we can change the visibility to off and on. We're going to go to here and go start again that. Image plane top. Add a layer prefix to that so we can actually save it as a layer. Okay. Well, this is a new one. Oh, just me. There again, my fault there. Cone top. Okay. So what we can do with this is we can reference this, which means we can't select it and move it around, which is essentially the main purpose for this. Okay, the next step is to create a new image plane, and we know that the width should be 60, and we also know the height should be 90, and we can again go back down to here and change these to 1. Then what we want to do is rotate this. I'm going to rotate it 90 degrees in the X, and we're going to push it further back. Doesn't really matter where to. I've already come up with a new issue with this, with the fact that I think I've used the standard default Phong, which is normally in the previous version would be a Lambert. So what I need to do for this is I need to actually change this other material first. I need to assign this as a Phong, and then just go back and make sure we just follow the same steps we did before. There we go. And I need to make sure I go into my graph and actually going to change this Phong here, and let's just break the colour on this. Again, specular colour down, reflectivity down, just so we can see what's going on with this. Okay, so let's assign a new material to this. Again, we're going to assign another Phong, and we're also going to call this make sure I've got my outliner open. Side or front or whatever you want to call it. Okay, so in the Phong 3 we have here, let's just assign another file to this. And we're going to go to orthographic side. And we can see we've got an issue here with because we've not actually gone for a square shape, we're having an issue with the UVs. So what we need to do is go to our UV, go to planar projector, and we need to project in the Z. Make sure we actually select the object while we're doing this, and it should match up to kind of dead center there. Okay, we can move this up now if we like, and if we go into our different views, quad view, we can actually do this a little bit more efficiently. So we can either line this up to the grid based on the base of the orthographic images, or we can line it up based on the actual base of the cone, so we're actually modelling in the cone. Okay, we can move this one further down as well, so it doesn't need to be quite as high up, because it's just again for looking down the top. And then again in the layers, we select this layer, add new layer, let's just name this cone side. Okay, and what we'll do is we'll reference both of these, and we can also quite easily change the visibility off and on if they're getting in our way. Now that's my preferred method for creating image planes for modelling, and you may prefer the camera method. So in the next video we'll be looking at actually starting to model our cone based on these orthographic images.